realities and new possibilities. Now, 2021 will hopefully be a year of transition for all of us, where we raise and also refresh our skills, a year of upskilling, and also looking forward to a lot of opportunities that lie ahead of us. Now, to shed light on this pertinent topic, we have with us Mr. Sunil Subramaniam, who's a managing director of Sundaram Mutual Fund, and he will, in fact, help us prepare for the new realities and new possibilities. Now, under his leadership, the fund house has won several accolades, including the ET Best Brands, YouTube Creator Silver Award, as well as Innovative Launch Campaign Award for Sundaram Blue Chip Fund by the World Marketing Congress. Now, he is someone who's passionate about cricket and music. And on that note, I believe that we will have a mellifluous session awaiting us in the form of his perspectives, because this is a topic we're also looking forward to. So without any further delay, let me invite on this main screen our next speaker, Mr. Sunil Subramaniam.
Good evening, friends. Hi, I'm Sunil Subramaniam, and thanks for the generous introduction. So when Prem spoke to me about this conference and he talked about new realities and new possibilities, right? So the first thing that struck me was what a brilliant timing for this conference. The reason I say that is that at the same time last year, right, it was just before the lockdown and we were all looking optimistically at the year. Then came the corona crisis and it has taught us a lot. I think if you say today that if at all anything has remained the same, I would say absolutely zero. So this last year, despite being a disaster in terms of the medical, the troubles that it has given us, has actually shown us a new light and a new path forward. And what I thought I'll spend today is on chatting on the learnings on this and what it means for our business, whether it's a business of asset manufacturers, whether it's the business of advisors and MFDs or our clients, right? So the first thing that we have learned here, right? What would I say is that in March, we were also depressed. Get anyone to give a prediction on the Sensex, right? What would they have said? They would have barely touched 40. Today, we have managed to double the Sensex. So what is that learning? What does it mean? So we all know that the markets are always a lead indicator of the economic future. So when the market went down, it was saying that the situation is very bad. But as advisors, as manufacturers, how did we respond to it? And uniformly, if you see, the whole industry got it wrong. So I think the first thing that I would say in terms of the new reality and possibility is that nothing is warranting a permanent change in your thought process, right? The way the markets have bounced back, it tells you that the world is resilient, that the stock markets are resilient, but it is our thought processes which are not resilient. Is because we all claim, as advisors, as manufacturers, that, invest for the long term, don't panic. But we actually ended up panicking. You look at the amount of portfolio changes that were made in the months of April, May, June. The amount of people who looked at a 23% negative GDP and said that, hey, the world is going to end, let's all shift into safety. So I think the first thing that at least I have learned in terms of the new realms and possibilities is that there should always be an element of contra thinking in your thought process. The opposite is like, don't behave like God. Why do I say this way? Because we all think that we know the future. When this correction happens, we think that the hotel industry will be down for a few months, the airline industry will be down, and we take these calls. But what this year has taught us is always build a contra. That is, don't put all your eggs into that process where you say, my research, my study is telling me. So I think first thing is that blend in contra at every stage. So I think the new reality is that as an asset allocator, right, you have to give every asset some share. You can't be zero in any asset class. I think that's the very, very critical learning. And I think all of you as advisors, right, I would say I strongly urge you to look at it from this perspective. That's number one. The second thing, the new realities and new possibilities, is the emergence of direct. It's the emergence of passives, right? I think passives and directs go hand in hand in a way. And I think whether we like it or not, you've seen the number of new, right, direct accounts which have been opened. You look at the number of ETFs, index funds being launched by the industry. You see the flows, retail flows. Earlier, we all felt that no, only institutional flows will come in. But today it's a reality that retail, HNI, the smart yuppie, all are going on their screens, looking at things and are actively looking at passives. So much as it hurts an advisor who depends on revenue from the manufacturer, right? Not an advisor, an MFD, right? I think that in the interest of your client, you can't afford to ignore passives, right? That's the second point. The third point is why passives is that not just the customer intent, you got to look at it from the fund management industry perspective. I was looking at data recently. In fact, I even checked it today. Can you believe that out of the 465 equity mutual funds, 1 year, which have completed 1 year, right, which have a 1 year return, 74% did not beat the benchmark. 74%, right? The second data there is that the average return was 300 basis points less than the Sensex. And mind you, there was not a great difference in the Sensex, mid-cap, small-cap index, all are 26 to 28%. So the fact is that fund managers, because they got it wrong, right? So the second aspect is why passives for you is not just the customer wants it, but it's also a fact of matter that you have to hedge yourself against the fund management industry. So second learning from this whole point is that please hedge yourself against. Now, third point here. So in hedging yourself, what is the key? Diversification, right? I said don't make any asset class zero, but you also have to make sure that you give a significant amount to each asset class. And when I say asset classes, you traditionally look at it like, fixed income, equity, hybrid. No, I'm saying broaden the basket. You had to have fixed deposits because the point is that the reality today is that the customer is very savvy and he's going to look at it from his perspective on how much money he has made, how much money he is giving you, right? I think the knowledge basis. And that is where, while we talk about new possibilities, please be aware of a new reality. What is that reality? The regulator is headed for another shock. What is that shock? The shock is that he is going to, most probably, if we don't have it in writing yet, he is going to link asset management fees and total TER to outperformance of the benchmark, right? So when you do that, the quality of your selection, that's why when I say diversification, I mean diversify across mutual funds. Because, and don't think that it's only an asset management company problem. Because ultimately today, the trail brokerages that you receive are a proportion of the asset management fees. So if a fund underperforms and the TER comes down, your trail brokerage is going to come down. So the smartness of your selection of asset managers, diversifying your risk across asset managers is another new reality and a new possibility. And here again, the possibility is there that when you look at the data and you take any Morningstar, Value Research, CRISIL, any ratings, right, you will look that the size of the scheme has no correlation to the performance of the scheme, right? And going home to where the heart is, yes, your brokerage is a function of the size of the scheme. So blend your stuff, right, across a range of large size, medium size, small size schemes within categories so that you not only earn money, but you're also backing the fact that performance is democratized, right? Every fund manager goes there and picks because it's a large fund. It doesn't mean anything. In fact, anything, he has to take even more stocks in a large fund. So that diversification across asset managers is the key. The fourth thing is that the digital transformation which was forced upon the world by COVID and the lockdown is a fantastic gain for us in two aspects. One, it has made your existing customer more digital savvy, digital friendly. So through Zoom webinars, you can do your marketing, your transaction, you have multiple platforms to execute digitally. So take full advantage because that time saved can be used to go and market to a new client. The second is look at the amount of demat accounts which have been opened for direct stock trading. A lot of the new people who are coming have gone into the stock market. Sooner or later, they are going to suffer the vagaries of the stock market, and they represent a potential pool for you to go and tap. So I think look at the whole demat, try and get that database. They are the customers who are future mutual fund customers for all us MFDs and advisors. So the digital world has opened up a huge thing. And I think the penetration of the mutual fund industry, which is still in the low double digits, has a huge potential to double. And your growth has to come from expanding your customer base, using technology and digital to save on time, to expand your reach, and to make more effective communication. Right? The final point that I want to make in terms of this whole thought process is that when you look at it from a perspective of a client, right? Please take charge of your client. Because end of the day, it's your relationship with the client which stands above everything else. Fund performance, everything can be managed, can be explained, but the quality of your relationship. And there are two aspects to quality of the relationship. First is that customer first, customer always first. Why do I say this? Is that take a maximum wallet share of your customer, and overall on a weighted average, if you make 50 basis points on the entire customer's holding, you could get 100, 150 basis from equity, maybe 50, 75 from debt, maybe 5, 10 from liquid, maybe 0 from fixed deposit. But please, this is the opportunity for you to manage the whole of your customer's wallet. If you earn 50 basis points on the full portfolio, your earnings will be far higher than what you already have got from your customer base. So I think looking at the share of wallet and targeting all asset classes. So I think you have to become a financial supermarket. Today, thanks to technology, that possibility is there. And also, ultimately, I would say that you have to look at yourself as if you're the conductor of an orchestra. Don't try to become that master of the thing. You are the person who has to pick the best violinist, the best guitarist, the best drummer, the best cellist, to their customer for his benefit. So if you look at your role as an orchestrator, then reach out to all experts across and bring them. Today, Zoom and these teams and all these have enabled you to coalesce and bring together all of that to the customer. So bring to your customer the best of the talent through this. And as you then do it, when I talk about relationship, you're going to go beyond financial products. You're going to go into legacy, leave for his grandchildren, right? Estate planning, all of these. So I would say that becoming a jack of all trades is the far better option than becoming a master of a few. So I think the new possibilities are that knowledge is available at the drop of a click of a button, right? Access to fund managers, access to AMC CEOs has become much easier. So you have the whole world geared up to support you, right? So in that realm of possibilities, for you, your role, how you perceive yourself, that is the final point I want to say, is that please build a brand of yourself, right? Curating a web page, putting your ideas, blogs, video logs, all of these, Twitter, you have to be active, you have to be available to the customer 24/7, right? And when you build a brand for yourself, then I come back to the first point I made, that ultimately the relationship is the bedrock of the whole mutual fund or the financial services. End of the day, customers will not go for the best bargain as long as they are comfortable with the person. So I said focus on only that. I think that is the ultimate thing which has stood the true test of time, is that relationship and relationships only matter. So focus on that on your client, and don't, in this day and world, it's not about just sending a birthday greetings. It is about standing for the customer when he has a problem. You are the first person he should call. It need not be a financial problem. He should look at yourself as a friend, philosopher, and guide. I know that's the next topic that Kailash is going to talk about. But I think that ultimately that FPG, friend, philosopher, guide relationship, is the best branding you can put in front of the customer, and that will stand the test of time. You will be able to meet with underperformance, meet with vagaries of the stock market, all of it in the course of your life. And so one final trick, right, is that I would like you to do. I know the SEBI stipulates that you got to get an account statement once you make an invest. Every folio will get an account statement. You'll get, customer gets a mass of information. You can't prevent it, you can't stop it. But if you can use technology to generate one account statement for entire customer holdings and tell him, sir, please ignore all that you see from the desk, right? When you are in the process that on a regular basis, you can choose monthly, you can choose quarterly as your convenience, generate an account statement which contains his holdings across mutual fund, across other asset classes, and tell him why I'm coming to is, all of you know, right? What is the basis? Financial planning, goal setting, asset allocation. All of these make sense only when you look at it as a holistic whole. If you take the one piece of it, it may be rotten. One piece of it may be tasting bitter, right? One fund underperforming, one this. But as long as the overall asset basket that you've chosen, you're able to communicate that, sir, against your goal, in tracking with the financial plan, this is the way the assets that are with me, managed by me, advised by me, this is the way it's progressing. I think that ultimately will be where your quality of asset allocation, everything will test itself, right? Right. So from that perspective, right, to summarize what I've just said, The new possibilities, the new realities, ultimately are about the fact that lots of things have changed. The dynamic in the world has changed, business cycles change, asset managers' performance change, outperformance changes. Lots of things have changed. But even in these possibilities, it is only that which doesn't change, which is the quality of your relationship with your customer, which will help you take advantage of the new realities and the new possibilities. With that, I bring my speech to an end. I hope you've all enjoyed it, right? First time in my life, I've probably done without a presentation, but I think that was more suitable for this need. All the very best for the conference and to all of you during the course of the next 2 days.